My name is Joseph Corey. I am 49 years old. I'm about to tell you a story that happened to me when I was 22 years old. At the time, I was living overseas in Sydney, Australia. I married very young. We had our very firstborn, and we had moved out on our own after living with my wife's parents for at least a couple of years. So we moved out on our own and we got ourselves an apartment, which wasn't really that far away from my work, about a 15-minute drive in Sydney. This one evening, like any other evening, I would get up early because I worked a night shift at a gas station, very similar to like a fast track in the States. And my shift used to start at 10 o'clock in the evening till 8 o'clock in the morning. So I would get up early, have something to eat, and then my wife would pack me some food to take with me to work in case I want to have something to snack on through the night. Well, I left the apartment that evening after saying my goodbyes and grabbed my lunch and started my vehicle. And I started heading to work. I was probably into my drive, maybe about 7-8 minutes into my drive. I'd come to a light, which, you know, I had to come to a complete stop. A very like a cross intersection highway. And as I'm looking, waiting for the lights to change at a distance, I noticed something that was moving to my right above the highway bridge that I've got to travel over. And I noticed that, am I the only person seeing this? Like nobody else would noticed it. I noticed the whole thing, that it was happening right in front of my own eyes, that there's something moving above the traffic. And it was illuminating some really weird, strange looking lights. The more I looked at it, the more curious I became. Like, this is really weird. Like, how could this be? What is it? I don't hear a sound. I don't hear anything. My window was down. I don't hear anything. It's not a helicopter. It's not an airplane. What is it? So as the light changed, I started going through the gears like a maniac, trying to speed up to catch up with it as it's passing over the bridge, which it's kind of almost veering to my left, heading in the direction to where I work at the service station. Well, I got up there and it already passed. I couldn't see it anymore. This had happened probably between 9:30, 9:45 in the evening. Anyhow, I got into the area and I got up ahead of it as fast as I can. And I come to a stop to see if whether it passed me or did I get ahead of it. So I stopped the vehicle and I stood in the street looking around. And as I'm looking around, there it was. Now it's coming right towards me. If anything, it really scared the heck out of me. So I stood by the telephone pole staring at it, and it was as high as the treetops, above the telephone pole as well, like in line maybe a couple feet, maybe 20 feet above the treetops. So I estimate probably about 125, 150 feet in the air. No sound. Okay, I'm very mechanically inclined. I didn't hear any sound, nothing. All I could see was lights emanating from underneath this vessel. Confused and scared, I made the sign of the cross. I even pinched myself. Am I really seeing what I'm seeing? But still again confused. I didn't know what it was. Now it kept moving. As I kept staring at it, it started to make my eyes water because I'm more curious and more curious to know what it is. So then as it passed me, it was heading in the direction, so I figured, heading in the direction to where I work. So I figured if I hopped in the car and got there real quick, maybe I can get somebody else to see it, like one of my workers that I worked with. I get there and my fellow worker was outside taking meter readings at the pumps. I drove in like a maniac, car running, open door, jumped out. I said, "You got to see this." And the guy's name at the time was Robin. "What are you doing?" "What are you doing?" I said, "Listen, you got to come and look at this. Something, I don't know what it is, but it's going to come right over us." So I pulled him away from the awning of the hangar of where the pumps are, and right in front of us there's a highway that cars are going back and forth. I told him, keep looking up. It's got to come this way. He said, what am I looking for? I said, look up. It's going to have to come this way. And before you know it, it was like right over our head. We're both standing there in shock. He's like, what the heck is it? These lights that were illuminating out of the underneath belly of this vessel were like rainbow colors coming out. Like if you took a cone, the cones that they put on the street, and you shoved them into something, and now at the base of them, these rainbow colors were coming out. There was 3 of them on this vessel, and it was just moving real slow, like with the wind, as if it was just gliding with the wind, not a sound. And then it disappeared into the darkness towards the city, between 2 buildings, above the buildings, just right through there. And that was the end of it. I never believed in anything like this, UFOs or anything of such sort. It's not something that my religion allows it. I mean, we believe in the Bible, God, and we're the only creation on this earth. When this happened, it really woke me up. It really changed my whole life. If anybody was skeptic about this, it would be me. If anybody brought anything up about this kind of thing back then, I would tell them, you're crazy. It's not true. It's evil. You can't believe in anything like that. There's only us in this world, in this universe, and that's it. But when this happened to me, that is something I'll never forget. Well, later that evening, we both went our own ways. I was working. He went home. And then right around midnight, I get a call from my cousin that likes to come and spend some time with me because he likes to play guitar in the city. And he used to come to the gas station and put his hat down and play a few, musical streaming, play the guitar for people. And if they want, a special song, he would sing it. I told him the story, and he thought I was nuts. He even said to me, what kind of drugs are you on? I said, I'm not on any drugs, and you know it. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't drink. I didn't do any of that stuff at the time. I was pure. I was not on any drugs. So for this to happen to me, it was just something very unbelievable. I've been living with this for the longest time. I've told a few people about it over the years, but it's something I'll never forget. So I told my cousin about it, and he thought I was crazy, like I stated. Later that morning, there was a newscast on the radio. I was putting things away in the gas station, mopping up, cleaning up, getting ready to leave in a couple hours. So I've got to give this shift to the next person, pretty much organized in there. And I had told my cousin about it earlier that night, and he said I was nuts. Well, the newscast at 6 o'clock in the morning stated that they had several hundred sightings that evening over Sydney, Australia, where police, people from hospitals, all walks of life reporting that there was a UFO sighting in Sydney. And right there, it confirmed everything to my cousin, and he believed every word I said after that. And me, it made a believer out of me and changed my whole life. That is something I'll never forget. Thank you.
One question for you, Joe. Besides the lights on the object, what was roughly the shape of the object, if you could describe it?
The more, like I said, the more I stared at it, the more I wanted to look at it. It was just like I was curious. It was like almost like a silverish dome, but almost like in a boomerang shape at the end of it. Not somewhat defined as a triangle, but kind of like rounded off. And it came to like a boomerang almost, and it had three, like 2 in the front and 1 in the back, with just lights coming out of it, just glowing like rainbow colors and moving along. But the more I glared at it, at the dome part of it, because I was trying to see what's above it, it was kind of rounded off, like an upside down saucer. No windows whatsoever. And it looked to me, from the vision of the night and the lighting that I had, it looked like almost like a grayish color, like not silverish but gray. I mean, that's what the lights were illuminating to me at night.
And at altitude-wise, what was the lowest you think it was at, roughly?
Well, I stood under the telephone pole because I got scared, and it scared the heck out of me. I'd say probably with the telephone pole, then the tree lines, I'd say probably about 150 feet above my head.
Very good. Joe, thank you for coming to do this. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And thank you.